Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the life that you're praying for isn't waiting on more money, better timing, or another opportunity? Maybe, just maybe, it's waiting on a different version of you. Because the truth of the matter is, every next level in life asks a question. Have you become the person who can sustain what you're asking for? Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Pretty Aligned Podcast, the space where we shift perspectives, reframe the way we think, and step into alignment with who we're truly meant to be. I'm your host, Octavia Darling, and every week we'll have real conversations that helps you reframe your mindset, overcome limiting beliefs, and create a life that feels good from the inside out. So grab your coffee, tea, your journal, or just your open mind and get ready to receive. Let's get into it. Your next level requires a new you. And here are 3 things that I would do to get there. First, I would get very clear on who I'm becoming. And now, if you've been listening to my podcast episodes since season 1, then you definitely have heard me speak on the importance of shifting your identity, overcoming those limiting beliefs, aligning with your purpose, healing, doing the work. And stop obsessing over goals, but instead get clear on who you are identifying as. In past episodes, I often repeat the same questions that I want you all to ask yourself because in order to change, you have to do the work. Some of those questions are, who do I want to become? If you're not clear on who you want to become, then how can you do the work to get there? What values define that version of yourself? What kind of life are you actually creating? Sometimes we don't realize that we are creating a life that we're not trying to have. And it's all because of the type of routines and the habits we repeat on a daily basis. So in order to get clear on who you're becoming, you have to take a moment to reflect on those type of questions. What kind of habits actually support that vision? Goals determine where you're going, but identity determines if you're going to stay there. To sum it up, a clear identity creates clear decisions. The second thing that I do is build habits that match my future. My future self is a woman who embodies the wellness lifestyle. She prioritizes her health, her wealth, her beauty, her family, God, business, not in that specific order, but those are the things that are in the forefront. So if I value those things, then I need to make sure that the action that I take daily aligns with those values. This requires consistency. This requires discipline. This requires resilience. This requires clarity. And this requires confidence. Every habit that you implement is a vote for the person that you're becoming. And I spoke about this on a previous episode, how when it comes to habits, you have to be very mindful of what you're actually implementing because there's healthy habits and there are poor habits. The thing is, it really matters which one you're implementing because either one is going to shape the person that you're becoming. So if you're someone who's slacking, who has poor time management skills, who doesn't follow through on their promises, who doesn't take care of themselves in a healthy way, then what kind of person do you think you're actually going to become? As I've said before, the life that you want is hidden in the routines that you repeat. And when it comes to routines, they seem very repetitive, right? You're going to get to a point where it gets boring, where it gets like, is anything actually happening? Is anything actually changing? I'm not really seeing the results. And when that happens, that's when you really gotta lock in. That's when you really gotta stand on business and say, you know what? I may not be feeling it today or this week or this month, but I'm going to stick to the plan because these habits are shaping the identity of who I want to become. The third thing that I would do is let go of what's keeping me small. I actually had to do that this weekend. I had to let go of something that was keeping me small. And when I say it was an easy decision to make, but hard to execute, listen, when you love yourself enough and you are so determined to get it right, and when I say get it right, I'm saying to finally fully align yourself with who you are becoming and stay on that path, vibe on that frequency. Anything or anyone who is not in alignment with that, you see clear as day how they're keeping you small or how it's keeping you small. And when you get to that point of having to decide them or you, choose yourself. Those things that's keeping you small are keeping you in a chokehold. They are creating a ceiling that you can't see past. And if you can't see past that ceiling, how do you expect to truly grow? Evolution requires release. So you must get to a point where you officially decide to let go of that fear, to let go of those limiting beliefs, to push past those comfort zones. And no, you may not always feel confident as you're doing it, but that's the point. You have to do it in order to build the confidence. You can't wait for the confidence to come first and then take action. It's built by the action. And then eventually you will grasp that you cannot take an old mindset into a new season. It just doesn't work that way. Every next level requires letting go of something. You have to let go in order to make room for what belongs. Now, let's shift our mindset. I want you to repeat after me. My future self is built through my daily choices. Now, when you really sit with that, this is going to shift your mindset to become even more intentional with the choices that you make. And it starts from the moment that you wake up. What is a decision that you get to make? Do I lay in bed for a little bit longer, or do I get up and get my day going? Every moment of every day, we are constantly deciding, and the decision that we make is what's shaping our future instantly. Your future self is watching every decision that you make today. Me coming here to this beach to decide to film this podcast at the time that I had set on my calendar to film this podcast is shaping my future. Me choosing to go to the gym and work out and focus and give my all and focus on the muscles that I'm actually working out is shaping my future. Me deciding to go to the grocery store, buy healthy foods and beverages that keeps me alive and well is shaping my future. Me deciding to create routines that supports the identity that I am embodying is shaping my future. Now, repeat after me. Growth is my responsibility. No one else can make you grow. If you want to grow, it is an internal decision and mindset shift that you have to make for yourself. And you can't just decide and say that's it. No, you must take action. You must do the work. But growth is not easy. Growth hurts. It makes you want to scream. It makes you want to give up. It makes you feel defeated. It makes you feel alone. It makes you feel helpless. But then there's a turning point. The point where you actually see those sacrifices that you made, those decisions that you made actually paid off. Because you start seeing your future shaping itself. There's these dogs over here howling. It's so cute. You start seeing your future shaping itself, and then you realize that you're in a flow. You found the rhythm. It's not an obligation anymore. It's a lifestyle. You're choosing it daily. You cannot put your responsibility off on anyone else, because no one else can become the person that you're called to be for you. So that life that you're asking for, that you're praying about, that you're journaling about, that you're visualizing, it's not asking you to do more. It is asking you to become more. Now, let's tap into these relatable scenarios. The first one is the person that's praying for more, but you're living the same way. How does that work? You ever felt like you were stuck in a loop and you're like, dang, it don't matter what I do, nothing changes. I feel like I'm doing the same thing every single day. Nothing is changing. I feel the same way. Life looks the same. Nothing is changing. Have you ever thought to yourself, nothing is changing because I'm not changing? I'm praying the same prayer every single day and I'm not even doing my part so it can happen for me. I'm asking God for the same thing. It's been years and I'm still asking God for the same thing. Why is that? That's not how it should work. What? You're asking for the same thing and nothing has changed? Have you changed? You want a healthier body. You want financial freedom. You want better relationships. And you want a thriving business. But your habits haven't changed. You're still eating poorly. You're still mismanaging your money. You're still settling for less. And you're still dreaming about the type of business that you want instead of taking a leap of faith and building it out. Growth starts in alignment between your desires and your daily actions. The second scenario is the person who waits until they feel ready. I don't think I have to go much into depth with this one because we talk about this quite often. And the reason why we talk about this quite often is because there's a lot of people who can relate to this scenario. There's a lot of people who are still waiting until they feel ready, until they bust a move. And because they're waiting until they feel ready, no movement is happening. You have to move first, and then you'll eventually become ready as you continue to do it. We are programmed to do things the opposite way. We wait to feel before we move, but you need to move in order to feel. The third scenario is the person who feels like your growth is taking too long. You're tired of waiting. It's been 6 months. It's been a year. It's been 5 years. It's been a long time. And you feel like you have not made as much progress as you have hoped that you would have made by now. The thing about time is that it's an illusion, right? How you look at things is going to determine how they manifest. So if 6 months is a long time to you, then yeah, growth may seem like it's taking long. If 1 year is a long time to you, then it may feel like you haven't done much. But this is why it's so important to be clear on the plan that you're writing out. Write the vision, make it plain. What is your vision, right? Break it down. Literally break it down to see what steps you need to take to make it happen. Growth may seem long when you're not in a steady flow. When you keep falling off, coming back, falling off, bouncing back. It's like you're not staying consistent enough in order to even see the benefits of your growth. Evolution can feel quite uncomfortable because you're leaving behind what's unfamiliar. When you finally shift your mindset to who you are becoming, you'll be surprised how quickly things will move. And I mean quickly. Real transformation is often slow and steady before it's obvious. Now, let's talk about these relatable points that I really want you to note for yourself. Identity shapes behavior. Small habits creates lasting transformation. Growth requires intentional choices. You don't become your future self by accident. Evolution often feels uncomfortable before it feels empowering. Every season of growth asks for something different of you, and becoming is a lifelong journey, not a destination. Real quick, before we get into these reflection questions, I just want to highlight this app that I downloaded a few days ago. It's called Frequency, and it's spelled FRQNCY. The creator of this app is Nero Knowledge. If you know of him from YouTube, then I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm gonna make sure I link this app in the description box because y'all, it is phenomenal. This app was built for the person who wants to create a lifestyle that aligns with their future self. But the way the app works is that your future self is talking to you and guiding you along your path. So you get to set your goals, say what you're working towards, things that you want to overcome. And as you navigate through the app, you realize your daily task aligns with the version of your future self. So you're already vibing at that frequency. I've been using this app for about 2 days thus far, I think 2 or 3 days. It's already putting me in a rhythm. It's already putting me in the right headspace. So if you are not familiar with it, check it out in the description box below. I will link it. Let's talk about it. Shoot me a DM or whatever. But y'all, it is phenomenal. So I highly recommend. So as far as these reflection questions, ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to live the life that I'm praying for? What habit is helping me become that person, and what habit is holding me back? What belief about myself no longer fits who I am becoming? Am I making decisions based on comfort or alignment? If my future self looked at my daily routines, would they recognize themselves in it? What's one courageous step that I can take this week in the direction of becoming the best version of me? Listen, y'all, your next chapter won't be written by the person you used to be. It's written by the choices that you make today, the habits that you build tomorrow, and the courage to keep becoming. Don't be afraid to outgrow old versions of yourself. Every version of you has served a purpose, but not every version of you is meant to carry you to your future. Keep evolving, keep trusting, keep becoming. Thank you for hanging out with me today on the Pretty Aligned podcast. I hope that something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective or a new way to see yourself. Remember, small shifts create big change. If you love today's conversation, share it with a friend who needs it, and make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss the next reset. Until then, keep aligning, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of you. I'll see you in the next episode.